You know, deep in the heart of Guanajuato, Mexico, there's this alley, a passage so narrow that neighbors could literally lean out and kiss from their balconies. It's called the Callejón del Beso, the Alley of the Kiss. And yeah, it's one of the most famous spots in the entire country. But, behind that romantic legend, there's a whole other story of confusion, tourist traps, and a hidden history that's way more interesting. So, let's get into it. I mean, millions of people visit this place, all hoping for that one magic moment. But here's the real question. Is this legendary alley the romantic pilgrimage it promises to be, or has it kind of become a classic tourist trap? Today, we're going to break down the 3 biggest myths about its cost, the time you'll actually spend there, and its surprising true meaning. So the story's pretty simple, but it's powerful. Kiss your partner on the 3rd step and boom, you're blessed with 7 years of happiness. This legend, once a local tale, got supercharged by Instagram and turned what was a quiet little passage into a global phenomenon. And with that came a whole ecosystem of tours, photographers, and souvenir sellers. Okay, first up, let's talk about the biggest question on pretty much every traveler's mind. Money. How much does this famous kiss actually cost? Because this is where the confusion really kicks in. A lot of people show up thinking there's some kind of official ticket booth or a mandatory guide fee you have to pay. I mean, it makes sense. You see organized groups, you see people paying photographers. It's really easy to assume that just getting in has a price tag, just like at any other big landmark. But here's the actual truth. The official price to enter, walk through, and take your own photo in the Callejón del Beso is 0. Zilch, nada. That's right, it's a public alley, it's open 24/7, and there are no gates, no tickets, and absolutely no mandatory fees. So where's all the confusion coming from? Well, it's all about the difference between visiting on your own versus joining a tour. You can go completely independently for free, and it'll probably take you about 15 minutes. Or you can join what's called a Calle. That's a 90-minute musical walking tour for about $8, where the alley is just one of many stops. They're 2 totally different experiences. And this is the most crucial point right here. Every single peso you might spend is optional. Professional photos? They'll run you about $3 to $6. A souvenir? Maybe a couple of bucks. But you are never, ever required to buy anything. Just a little tip, bring small bills because most vendors won't be taking credit cards. Okay, here's a huge piece of insider knowledge, so listen up. You might get told that you have to pay for balcony access just to take a picture. That is completely false. While the balconies themselves are private homes, the steps you're standing on are public property, so you are 100% free to take your own photos. A polite but firm no gracias is all you'll ever need. All right, let's tackle our second myth, which honestly can have an even bigger impact on your trip. The time commitment. How long do you really need to be here? Travelers often block out an entire morning or afternoon expecting something like a small park or a museum visit. But the reality? The alley is only about 20 meters long. A really thorough visit, and that includes waiting in line for a photo, is rarely going to take more than 15 to 20 minutes. The gap between expectation and reality here is just massive. And over-planning your time here has a real cost. I mean, in the 3 hours you might have blocked off for the alley, you could have explored the home of the famous artist Diego Rivera, hiked up to the iconic El Pipila statue for these incredible city views, and still had time to wander through other historic neighborhoods. Don't let this 15-minute photo op eat up your entire day. And that brings us to our 3rd and final myth. And this is the one I find most interesting. It's the idea that the alley is just some superficial photo op, a legend without any real historical or cultural meat on its bones. So to really get the alley, you first have to get the city. Guanajuato was built in this super tight mountain valley during a 16th century silver rush. There was no flat land, so builders had only one choice: go up. This created what's called vertical architecture. Houses were just packed in wherever they could possibly fit with zero regard for normal city planning. And right there, that's the key insight. The alley's famous closeness isn't some deliberate romantic design. It's an architectural accident. It's a byproduct of geography and history. The romantic legend could only ever exist because the architecture first created this bizarrely intimate space where 2 lovers could literally reach across and kiss. So you see, the Callejón del Beso isn't a one-off oddity. It's simply the most famous example of a building pattern you will see all over this incredible UNESCO World Heritage City.
Once you know what to look for, you'll start spotting dozens of these super narrow passages and close-set balconies. The alley isn't just a landmark, it's actually a key to understanding the entire city's history. Okay, so now that we've busted the myths, let's get practical. Here is your simple, no-nonsense playbook for having the absolute perfect visit without all the stress and the unnecessary costs. Getting there is so easy. From the main plaza, the Jardín de la Unión, it's just a pleasant 8 to 12-minute walk. Guanajuato is a super compact and walkable city, so you definitely do not need a taxi. Just follow the signs heading towards Plaza de Los Angeles, and you're pretty much there. Now, timing is everything here. If you want those perfect crowd-free photos, you gotta go on a Tuesday or Wednesday morning, before 9 a.m. If you'd rather have a more atmospheric, quiet vibe after all the day trippers have gone home, a weeknight between 7 and 8 p.m. is your absolute best bet. Just try to avoid weekends and holidays if you can. Your packing list? Super simple. Bring some small peso bills for any souvenirs you might decide to buy. Wear comfortable shoes with a good grip. Those stone steps can be pretty uneven. Your smartphone camera is honestly more than enough. And yeah, bring a water bottle. The altitude can make you pretty thirsty. And just as important is what not to do. Skip booking an expensive tour just for this one alley. Try to avoid coming with a big group because the space is incredibly narrow. And please leave the fancy shoes at home. This is a casual spot that requires climbing some steep steps. And we'll leave you with one final piece of insider advice. Look, everyone lines up for the exact same photo on that third step. But the best shot, the one that actually captures the true story of Guanajuato's vertical architecture, is taken from the bottom of the alley looking straight up. It tells the real story of the city, and guess what? You won't have to wait in line for it. It kind of makes you wonder, what other stories do we miss when we only focus on the legend?